1 cup of applesauce caused the worst week of my entire life. I'm joined by Luke. You guys might know him. Luke, say hi.
Hello.
Apparently, I've never told Luke this story before, which is weird because it's one of my favorite stories. Picture this, Luke. Picture this. 7th grade me, go to the grocery store so I can pick out what I want for my school lunches because I would always pack lunch. Back in the day, I saw some applesauce.
Wow.
I saw it, I was like, you know what? Might as well. I haven't had it in a hot minute. Nothing in the universe should ever go this wrong. You're familiar with the term butterfly effect? In the cafeteria with my buddies, I open up this applesauce, about to take a big swig of it, a big spoonful, and then all of a sudden, it spills all over my pants. After using like 20 napkins, there was just a large stain that was in just the right spot to make it look like maybe had to go to the bathroom and didn't quite make it in time. So I go over to Dr. Smartjaws, the previous principal at the time, the same one who, if you saw the last Storytime video, he had a seizure in the parking lot. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh my god.
So I say, I spilled applesauce all over my pants, and it looks like a big stain from using the bathroom. Would you mind if I go to the nurse to get new clothes? And he said, actually, here's a better option. Janitor, can you come over here? And I'm thinking, like, what's going on? Like, why is he calling the janitor over?
This can't go well.
The janitor walks over with a rag and a mop. I kid you not. This is not a joke. He mops my pants down, which are on my body. He's mopping my pants with a rag and a mop while I'm wearing them in front of the entire cafeteria.
There's no way. Did he actually, like, wring the mop, or did he just take it straight from the water?
He wrung the mop. He wrung the mop, the rag was wet, the mop was dry. I thought, for as terrible and weird of a situation that was, that it was hilarious. I'd love to tell my friend Gavin this. Gavin Crumb. And this is in the halls after lunch, we're walking. I go up to Gavin, I'm like, hey, man, you're not gonna believe what just happened in the cafeteria. Did you see? He's like, no, I didn't see what happened. Dr. Smartjazzy got a janitor to mop my pants down after I spilled applesauce on it. He was like, dude, that's funny. You know what else is funny? This. And he got his dirty napkin. He pulled it out from his pocket, this, like, wad of napkins. He shoved it down the back of my shirt. I looked at him. I was like, what'd you do that for? And he said, I don't know, because I didn't want him and I couldn't find a trash can. I reach over my shoulder to grab it. Then, as I'm reaching over my shoulder, I trip over his foot. I fly backwards, and my head slams into a locker. The locker that I slammed into serendipitously happened to be my locker. I'm on the ground, but I'm not, like, in super pain. I'm just, like, aching to the point where I don't want to stand up. So I put my locker combination in from the ground, I open it up, and all my books are stacked up on the ground. When I open it up, I notice, oh, hey, I accidentally stole a history book that I was supposed to give back a week ago. The history class is over here. My locker is here. The science classroom is upstairs right here. So I have to go all the way over here to give the history book back, all the way up the stairs, all the way back before class starts, limping because my body hurts so badly from being slammed into a locker and I'm dripping with mop water. By the time I do that...
I forgot. We're still soaking wet.
I finally get up to Mr. Zerby and his science class. I was 5 minutes late for this class because of how slow I was getting to the history class. And he's like this big, intimidating guy. He says, are you late? Do you have a hall pass? I was like, no, he was like, I don't care for your excuse. He went on for like 10 straight minutes telling us about how being late at school causes failure later in life. Naturally, after that day, I was a little stressed out.
Oh my god, dude. Dude, I would have cried. He didn't even, like, look at you and think, you know, maybe he's not having such a good day.
I go home after that stressful day. I'm like, man, what do I do? Because I didn't want to work on homework because I was too stressed out. I didn't want to do anything. I was like, you know what? I didn't want to play video games even. I was just so annoyed. I had this big paper chain I was working on. You know those paper chains, just like pieces of paper linked together, right? And I was like, man, I'm just going to work on this for a little bit. So I open up the stapler, make sure I have staples in it. I close the stapler, and I staple my thumb. My thumb is bleeding out with a staple in it. And naturally, I have to get the staple out or it's going to keep bleeding and it's going to get stuck in there. So I grab it and I yank it out. Now it's completely bleeding out. I'm trying to, like, clean it off. I go to the bathroom, I'm trying to clean it off, get a Band-Aid. I wrap, like, 10 Band-Aids around it. And finally, the blood is contained within these, like, 10 Band-Aids. Next day rolls around. I'm thinking, like, man, I gotta get Gavin back for shoving that napkin down the back of my shirt, or else I wouldn't have tripped into the locker and had that confrontation with Mr. Zerby. So, I notice he's playing with Pokemon cards. I'm thinking, wow, what if I get my Band-Aid and I take it off, and I slip it into his Pokemon deck with all of my blood in the Band-Aid? I said, hey, what is that? Pokemon do? I've never seen that one before. That's weird. He was like, oh, which one? He's fanning through. He notices the Band-Aid. So, he gave me a friendly sucker punch to the gut. Spanish class came around, and I had a project for a different class I was working on. It was like this pop-up book type thing. And in my upset, distracted mindset from, you know, my stomach hurting, feeling like I was going to throw up after he punched me, I left my project in the Spanish classroom. So, later in the day, I went to go get the project back. I found the project crumpled up in the recycling bin of the class. Would it have killed the person who put it in the recycling bin to at least just set it in there? Just like, maybe like, they didn't have to like crumple it into a ball. It's a pop-up book. And you realize it doesn't work if you crumple it into a ball, right? I get home and I get out my scissors so I can start cutting more, like, the pages again. I must have been like really upset or something, because I was cutting like fast. I was like mad cutting, like.
Oh no, this just sounds.
And let me remember, on this finger, this top little portion of it right here, and it's completely grown back, but I cut it off. I cut off this little tiny top area, like this, like skin area of my finger. That hurts so badly. That was way worse than a staple. I would staple my thumb twice if it means I didn't have to cut off part of my finger with scissors accidentally. Weekend came around. I always go bike riding with my dad whenever I'm there. And so, while we were riding the bikes this time, I would just every now and then glance down at my finger, you know, for a good second or so to make sure it wasn't bleeding out all over my bike, because every now and then it would just start bleeding for no reason. It wasn't really to check on my own safety, it was more to make sure I didn't get blood on my bike, because that's gross, and I don't want that on my bike. The one time I glanced down at it, and I noticed it started bleeding again. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get blood on my bike. So I used one hand, I was trying to, because I can ride a bike with one hand, so I used one hand trying to like fix it. I noticed that I start going faster. And I look up, and this is gonna sound like something straight out of Tom and Jerry. I look up, I'm heading down a hill into the new construction area apartment complex that they're working on. I try to swerve my bike to get back on the path. I swerved way too hard, and I flew off of my bike and tumbled down the hill in a massive somersault. I was still very sore from that whole ordeal by the time Monday rolled around. Then gym class rolled around. Mrs. Kitka was her name. Sounds like Kit Kat. Mrs. Kitka was her name, and she was the gym teacher, and she noticed that I was like unbelievably slow that day in gym. She asked me why I was slow, and this is while we were doing lacrosse. So it was kind of like we were just throwing the ball back and forth to the opponent. You know, this big, like, beefy lacrosse ball, you throw them back and forth. Every time I would do a bad throw on accident, because my body hurt so badly I could not focus on anything, and my partner would have to run to go get it, I would just keep telling Miss Kitka the story of everything that's going on. I got through most of it, at which point, unnoticing what is happening in the background, a lacrosse ball gets launched over to where I am and whacks my shin out. Bang! Knocked me on the ground. A lot
more mass than the baseball, it's for sure.
When I got home, I just watched YouTube videos all day for the rest of the day. I literally did not do anything. I didn't play video games because my fingers hurt. I didn't go outside because my entire body hurt and my shin hurt and everything. I just stayed inside and I sat on my bed like this. And I watched YouTube videos. Like that. But
that sounds about right.
I found a video that I thought was funny. And it was I don't even remember what it was. I just remembered it was funny. The next day at school, I get to school, I'm like, hey, check out this video. We have these Chromebooks, and so I pulled out my Chromebook, and I pulled up the video. It took a couple minutes. This was like right at the end of the day. So I pulled up the video, and I showed them, and they started laughing like they were like, hey, I get it, that's sick, you know, that type thing. They thought it was funny. So then I said, oh, by the way, what time is it? They were like, oh, yeah, it's 3:10. I was like, I was 3:10? My bus left! And so, just grabbing all my stuff, I run outside as fast as I can. I found, thankfully, the buses were all traffic jammed by all the cars that were picking up students that day. That was such a stroke of luck. I'm like, man, my luck is finally turning around. So I run over to my bus, and the bus driver doesn't see me. I literally have to, like, bang on the door for the bus driver to notice that I'm there. Then they open the door. The bus was packed. There was literally one empty seat, and it was next to my friend Chloe. And I'm still friends with Chloe to this day. I tapped her on the shoulder. I was like, hey, Chloe, what's good? And she turned around. She was like, oh, because she wasn't expecting. She didn't know anyone else was on the bus because the doors were already closed. She turns around, she's like, oh, she's holding her phone when she does that. She turns around with her phone. I don't even know how she did this. She must have pulled like one of these, like whoa, something like that. She whacks me in the head with her phone. It leaves a giant goose egg on my head. I got a goose egg on my head from being whacked in the head by a phone, a metal phone case. I've been sucker punched. I've been hit in the shin with a lacrosse ball. I've tumbled down a hill. I've cut part of my finger off. I've stapled a different finger. All this stuff is going on. And then I go to my friends and they're like, man, why do you look so glum? Why do you look so defeated? I was like, guys, I've had the worst week ever. And so I start telling them the story. They're like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Nope. I don't believe it. And
right.
To this day, I don't think that they believe me that that's a true story. And that's the worst part. That's the worst part. I go through all that to have this awesome, crazy story of this terrible thing. I tell my friends, and they're like, that didn't happen. I don't believe you. And that, Luke, is the worst week of my entire life. Caused by applesauce.
Oh my god. I want to believe this is true, so therefore it's going to be true.
I swear to you it's true.
I've gotten to that point with a lot less, but then falling off my bike, cutting my finger off, stapling it, and, you know, nobody warned you in gym class. Like, anybody could have been like, hey, Ryan, the ball's coming your way.
They could have.
Teacher could have.
It seems like everyone in my life is a jerk. Gavin's shoving the napkin down the back and sucker punching me. The kid who crumbles up the thing and throws it in the recycling bin. And, all this. Everyone.
It sounds like Gavin doesn't like you, really.
What's up with that? What is up with that? Like, guys, can you throw me a bone here? Can you throw me some slack already? Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe. Please just do it. It'll ease the pain from 5 years ago when the story happened. Till then, peace out.
It will ease the pain. Oh my god.